The sunny side. Short version is likely best as the long version is very long. Fell in love with my wife 13 years ago. We were both very much in love. After meeting her, I knew she was the only one for me from then on. She felt the same. 5 years later we married. Her mother lived with us and was a pain. But family is family. Unfortunately, the arguing between the three of us got to a point where my wife decided she needed some emotional support outside the marriage. I caught her red-handed. It's a sight and feeling I'll never forget. My friend told me not to make any big decisions, no buying a car, house, or making babies. This was 4 years ago. She went from being sorry and in tears to blaming me in a matter of a week. I said I was leaving. I couldn't live in that apartment anymore. I said she could come but that things would have to change. She wanted to come. We moved and things started to get better. Her mother made things worse. Fighting was now mostly between them. I decided to work on myself, my health, my mind. I started reading more. For 4 years though, I made an effort to rebuild the relationship. I made the effort by setting the mood for dates, planning a vacation which was spontaneous. It seems like I was at the front of everything and she was just along for the ride while it lasted. Finally, in May, I told my wife I felt like I was a babysitter and a paycheck. Quite often when we would argue she would always bring things around to how hard she works at work. This was not the topic I was on. I was talking about us as a couple. She managed to maneuver around those issues and I let it happen. This time I didn't and I saw a slight bit of fear. Whether that was she was losing her babysitter, paycheck, or actual fear of losing someone she loves, I don't know. Over the course of a week some positive proactive changes happened. Although small, it all has to start somewhere. At the end of that week, her mother passed. She was sick for a long time. I took care of her most of the time. Work-wise, I work fewer hours but make more money. So, it was easier for me to do most of the hospital visits, or ambulance rides, etc. Last month I had an operation, minor abdominal hernia. The hospital had said she would have to be there on the day they explained the procedure, the day I checked in, and the day of the operation. I don't live in the West, although I'm a Westerner. Where I live, this is how this time of procedure is handled. My wife's reaction was, I don't know if I can take time off work. This made me angry. I asked my best friend and without hesitation he said of course. He did complain about my wife and, knowing more of our past than most, said that it was time to move on. A few weeks ago, during an argument, she said she is more focused on money than anything else. She has been the person in charge of finances for most of our marriage. How we don't have any savings and why it is that with our combined income of more than most of our friends doesn't allow us to live stress-free is beyond me. When it comes to household chores, I do what I think is a good job. I'm not always on the same page as her, but I get things done. However, when things aren't done at her pace, I'm suddenly someone who doesn't care. I always say, if something needs to be done and you don't see me doing it, just ask and I'll get it done. Her answer is I don't want to have to ask, which to me is odd. Please let me know if this is me being an idiot. However, when it comes to bonding, I'm always the one who initiates and even then, it doesn't happen most of the time. I don't expect to get it every week or even month, but there's zero effort on her part and has been that way since before she cheated. So, I have to ask, but apparently that doesn't count. An example of how things play out with bonding. This was the last time I asked for it and it will be the last until who knows when. Sunday, beautiful weather. She had the day off, her mother was at a daycare service, I was out to work. I was supposed to be home after 6 p.m. but got off early and was home at 1 p.m. My wife was home, in makeup with her hair done, but in a housecoat. She was at the computer checking clothes. After coming home, I cleaned the kitchen, set up the bedroom so that everything was perfect, made sure I looked and smelled good, and said in a more romantic way, beautiful day, light coming into the room, nice music, why don't we have some alone time? Her response was a little later. Of course, I knew this would mean it wasn't happening. A little later her mom came home and my wife said, I think I'm just going to take a shower and go to bed early. And she never went to bed early, she got to be at 1 a.m. She saw that I was not happy and said, don't be angry, I'm doing my best. And I'm thinking best at what? I would never ask her for bonding again. A few weeks back, fighting again, I bring up the fact that bonding has been non-existent. She says she feels bad and would understand if I slept with another woman. She says she is embarrassed and talks with co-workers about these issues. But for the life of me I don't see why she doesn't talk with me. In a perfect world, my wife would realize that things could be better between us and work on us together and we would live happily ever after. I asked a friend, pastor, to listen to me and give it to me straight. I wanted to know if there was anything I was doing that would make her not want me, not appreciate me, or anything that I was doing that would make you say, hey, that's probably not a good thing to say, do. And I tried to be as honest as I could. He had nothing. He cares for the both of us, so he was being kind in a way. So, I've been unhappy for a long time. I want out, but at the same time I'm finding it hard. So much time put into a relationship, so many good years. I thought that her cheating would destroy us, but I managed to get through it. I don't know how. I still have pain and still have the images, but if she would just put in the effort, those painful images would fade. I don't know how to start talking divorce, what to expect, or how to do anything as far as dividing up household goods and debts. Where I live, getting a divorce is easy and costs nothing so long as both parties agree to how things get divided up. We have no kids. We rent a very beautiful apartment, which I wouldn't want to live in on my own. Okay, no, I'm just babbling. I just hope for some guidance in doing this. That was the short version. If anything got left out that you think needs clearing up, I'll add more to it. Right now, I'm regretting not leaving her 4 years ago. That's all turning into resentment. We actually just finished fighting, and I actually asked her to hand over all the bank books and cards so I can take a look to see what needs fixing. She caught on that I was wondering if money was being spent unwisely, but what needs to be done needs to be done. I tried to keep the topic on us. I told her the more she drifts towards money, the more she drifts away from me. I explained I had no problem planning for a financially secure future, but not at the cost of having a relationship in the present. She kept bringing it back to work, how hard things are, how stressed she is. These are things I know, these are things I help with. I pointed out of a few, such as doing all the shopping and cooking or cleaning the bath and kitchen every other weekend. Not because it's her job, I think we both need to do what we can to make life easier on each other. She doesn't seem to grasp that. She says she appreciates it, but when I ask her for any sign of appreciation, she goes blank and then points to a negative about me. You don't do this, that, and I calmly told her that we could play this game of you do, don't, and I always, never, etc. I'm tired of it. The fight didn't end with anyone winning, but I do think she has a better idea today of what to expect of me down the line. Once I get a grasp on the finances is when I think I'll be able to make a more definitive decision as to where I should go. If I could simply snap my fingers, be in a different apartment with my stuff and my half of whatever debts we have, I would be on the road to happiness. It's just not that easy. It's everything between that moment you ask for a divorce to being completely out of their lives that is the hardest walk to walk. There are times when the conversation in my head feels like it works. Then I think about it and it sounds like I'm attacking her and blaming her. Then I change things up and it sounds like I'm being too soft. Then it changes again and it sounds like I'm not giving her the opportunity to make the changes necessary and like I'm the a-hole. She usually doesn't work weekends. This weekend she did, she says, in part to make extra cash for the hospital visits she intends on having. She left about 5 a.m. and it's now 9:30 p.m. I work weekends and I've finished my day, come home, had dinner, taken a bath, prepared for my day tomorrow. So, if I call or email asking her about where she is, I look needy. If I don't, then I feel like I'm an idiot for believing she's at work. It's possible. Stupid hours and free overtime are a problem in this country. However, I've never heard of this long a day and I do want to say something when she gets home. That was actually me thinking about two questions. How you asked for a divorce, and how do you ask why someone is especially late from work, and at a time when you would expect more focus on home. We both commute to work by train. No car. I guess I should rephrase. How did you tell your wife, husband you want, need, are thinking about a divorce? I'll be handing the papers to her in person. I'm a fool for thinking this is the right way to do it. Or am I complicating things? I'm a man, a big man. I'm 181 centimeters tall, sorry non-metric people, and 110 kilograms. I'm in the gym 5 days a week and I'm currently trying to get into the lower single-digit body fat percentage. I have no idea how much of a man that makes me, but it's a start. Today, I excused myself from my daily chores, went by the pond, thought about a lot of things and created a fake scenario in which I cried. The only movie that ever made me cry was it. I can't explain why. That said, what my mind conjured up, I cried. It was extremely releasing in so many ways. Your mind, body may prevent you from crying until you are ready, but I highly recommend you try to get it out earlier. Why? I felt more relaxed and easier with the future. I felt like my wife had much less control over me than before. She still has some, but much less. I simply recommend anybody that is hurting that can't cry just yet to find a way, get out and find a way to cry. Whether movie, confiding in friend or friends, thinking with music, anything. Just cry. This is of course from personal experience. If you've had a different experience, don't be afraid to post it. I'm all for the different options out there. I may need more emotional support in a day or two, or next week, month or year, but for today, I'm fine. That's all that matters now. I asked my wife if she wanted a divorce. I was prepared for yes or no. I was hoping for no but was willing to accept yes. She answered, I don't know, I need time. This got me angry because it put me in limbo, and I'm not staying in limbo. She needed time. It is the end of the financial year and the end of March, so double the stress and workload. I understand that, so I decided that I could wait that long. She begged for us to be able to talk April 1st, that she was too tired and didn't want to hurt me any more than she has by being too tired to answer questions or think straight. April 1st. When she got home, I told her to eat dinner. I wasn't about to get into anything while she was hungry. I went into the kitchen after and started. I told her that I was angry that she answered, I don't know. I was angry that she said, I can't get physical. And I explained to her why this upset me so much. The reason she says that she said, I don't know, was because she knows she's hurt me and doesn't want to continue hurting me. She knows that I've been unhappy and doesn't want to see me unhappy. What I still haven't figured out is if you know what is making me unhappy, why not make an effort to fix it? There was plenty of time. This question turned to arguing, something I said I refused to do. When it came to bonding, she says she's lost her libido. She doesn't know why. She says it's mental and physical. The mental part comes from our paying back loans that we have from IVF. Yes, keeping up with bills is tough. However, I tried to explain as nicely as possible that bills and money weren't all we had in our life, that there was much more. However, she only sees the burden of paying back loans. I'm not blind to this. I feel the pain in working hard and having to fork over a big chunk to pay for treatments that, in the end, didn't work. However, I can certainly find the time to connect if she were willing. What next? I don't think she ever wanted a divorce. What she said in her messages and what she's saying and doing now are completely different. I still don't know what to do. Things ended the same they always have, neither of us satisfied with each other's answers. I said this is going to end the way it has every other time. I walk away, you go on your phone, we go to bed. You go to work early tomorrow, I come home late. The end. She took issue with me saying you've lost your desire to be with me, physically and emotionally. From what I understood, that was what she was saying. However, she didn't like that I said that. Her reply was, you're putting words in my mouth. You're placing me in a position I never said I was in. So, she desires me, but she doesn't. But she does. In my bed. So, if I leave because my wife won't sleep with me because she is stressed about money, does that make me in a hole? She says that physically, she could bond if I wanted. However, and she knows me, if she's not in the moment with me and doing it as a chore, then I'm not going to be doing it. I told her a year ago this was a problem. She never bothered to figure things out. Now that divorce was brought up, and she saw I had the balls to get the papers, she's taking a step back and trying to sorry. Before she went to bed, she gave me a half hug and said I'm so sorry, apologizing for her actions. Exactly which ones, I don't know. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. The bills we have are both our responsibilities, and I'm definitely carrying my own weight. Why is it that I want more and she can't think about more? I have one group of friends here that say get out, get someone new, be happy, and another group that say don't divorce. There's a reason you stuck it out this far. If you get a divorce, you'll regret it later. If she had simply said yes, I want a divorce, I could move on, however painful that might be. If she said, let's heal, I would be happy and open to therapy, etc. We're still in the I don't know. I feel like if she makes any big changes towards me, they will be pushed, if that makes sense. Like if I don't do this, he'll stay upset. At the same time, should I be thinking baby steps? I guess I'm asking for more of an objective opinion on whether or not I seem like a jerk for wanting intimacy in our relationship when she's not interested due to, her words, financial stress, work, and lack of libido due to her age, hormones. She admitted that she was selfish in thinking that things could go on without worrying about bonding, and that this hurt me over the last year. If she can make the effort to reconnect on intimacy, then I could wait. If she has no plans, then I can't. Or I have to figure out a way to live without it. I almost feel like that guy who leaves his loving wife because she is now wheelchair-bound and can't have bond. I don't know if that's true, I'm just guessing. She says she doesn't feel like a woman anymore. However, her loss of interest in me physical, I think, was before we tried having kids. She says she's not interested in any male contact. She doesn't want to live with anyone other than me, that if things ended, she would choose to be alone. Whether or not that's true, I can't say for sure. An update to my emotionally draining situation. So, we had bond for the first time in 18 months. I understood that she was under a certain amount of stress with bills, as was I, but she sees it differently. I told her if there was any chance of saving this marriage that she needed to take action. I was not about to keep trying to pull her closer when she didn't want to be close. The other weekend I had a rare day off on a Sunday, a day she normally has off as well. I mentioned that if she wanted to try and make amends of any sorts, there was an opportunity. Whether she would take it or not was 50-50. I wasn't expecting anything. She wanted to go out on a date, have a meal, watch a movie. I was not into the idea. And she said, I know you're thinking about a lot of things right now. We can try to get physical. It had been 18 months. I was just going to do it because my body needed it. After, the words, try to, stuck in my head. That, and the fact she wouldn't kiss me, she didn't want to mess up her lipstick was her reason. Of course, after we went out, but my mind was constantly analyzing the bonding. My body had released that frustration, for the time being. But there were emotions that weren't there. I thought maybe this is the start to something new. Maybe there will be more next time. Maybe things will be different. Almost 2 weeks later, after doing some research on lube and buying some to make things more pleasant, I told her I would be going home early. That day I normally work late, but I mentioned I hoped that since it was her day off and the end of the day, that we could be more passionate about a love-making session. 5 hours later, I had already been home for 4 hours. I received email that she was on her way home from work. Although a national holiday, she had to work. She said, I can't do it at this pace. You need to slow things down. I want to be honest. I'm all for honesty, and if you're not in the mood, then by all means take time off. But 2 weeks earlier we had it for the first time in 18 months. How much slower does it get? I knew talking about it would turn into a fight. I sent a polite message back telling her how I felt. I was no longer in the mood and no longer interested in having a conversation about bonding. Her reply was, let's go slower, like once a month maybe. Right there, making it out to be a chore. Not cool. But this is where I have to ask the veterans on the board. How many people think I'm asking too much? How many think she's being selfish? She said she would see a therapist. That hasn't happened. And a doctor about her hormones. That hasn't happened. And that she wanted a second chance. That has happened, but the doors seem to be closing shut really fast. I honestly think, right now, that if a young handsome man were to approach her, talk about how pretty she was and how nice her smile was, flirted and showed he had a physical attraction to her, that all those wonderful feelings would come back. I know, because that's happened to me. I just haven't acted on them. And it makes me feel like crap, knowing I could possibly have a chance to get those feelings back but never giving myself the chance. Today was my day off and I've kept busy most of the day. I went to the gym, prepared my meals for the weekend, done shopping, kept cleaning, in case I do need to move quickly. Now it's back to feeling like crap. And I'm still sitting here trying to figure out how to make things work. Where I live in the world it works like this. You get divorce papers from City Hall. You both sign them. You get 2 witnesses, friends, family, to sign them. You hand them in and you're done. There's a box on it that asks, are you going to court, which people do when there is money or children disputes, etc. However, since we have neither to dispute, the only reason it's not being handed in is because she hasn't signed it yet. If I hand it in without her signature, then we could end up in court where a 3-member council will ask why she hasn't signed and we end up fighting about where to take the relationship in court. Because she's had an affair, it wouldn't take long to get them to approve. I don't think it would go that far. I do think she is thinking about money. She would have to move into a much smaller place and pay all her bills on her own. She's a lady in a male-dominated society and she worries about her future in the company she works. This plays on her emotions as to signing or not signing, I'm sure. I did find out she's been getting advice from a non-professional counselor, a lady who, based on experience, calls herself one. This same person is also into network marketing and has my wife signed up. This means her best interests are in keeping my wife happy with her. A seriously messed up situation, since my wife is also being blinded by the possibility of making money through a different means, one I have serious doubts about. She cheated 5 years ago. I moved out. She wanted to reconcile. She moved in with me. At first it seemed like it was going to go well, a scar on the relationship, but a relationship, nonetheless. She didn't think at all. But that's the past and I've got to move on from that. If she ever cheated again, it wouldn't even be a question of making arrangements. I would, in all honesty, like to end this peacefully. Once done, I would have nothing to do with her or anything about her. She knows that if it's over completely. I think she wants to stay a part of my life. She just walked in the door, so I'll see what I have in store for the evening. I hope it's not fighting, because I'm done fighting. Right now, she's getting the feeling of indifference from me. Looking back, it seems that I've let this person run me over, crush me, and continued to allow it. Now, I'm getting that gut feeling I had 5 years ago that she's cheating. Of course, mix in all the other crap feelings I have and I could be wrong, but does it matter? Nope. We're in a week long of national holidays here and I work every national holiday. Her mother's 1-year anniversary, 1 year since she died, was 2 days ago. Out of respect for her mother, I did nothing that day. That was my excuse. Today, I had a very long day, another crap excuse, and I know tomorrow and the day after I'm going to have long days. So, what happened today? She came home while talking on the telephone. After I asked her what she was up to that day, she has national holidays off, and right away she asked, "Do you doubt me?" To which I answered yes. I should have followed that up with, "And here's why, and that's why we're getting a divorce." But it was just left at yes. I feel like I'm now looking for that perfect timing to get out. It's just never going to be perfect. I've gone over in my head what to say, how to act, how she might react, what to do in the days following. But then when the opportunity presents itself, I can't follow through. How do you get past that initial fear? I know once it starts going, emotions take over and anger will likely keep me focused. Not showing anger on the outside, but the anger that's built up inside. My long day is an excuse for me not talking about divorce. There should have been more remorse after the PA and more effort into rebuilding the trust. An example, if she catches the last train home, she should be in the door by 12:45 p.m. at the latest. I've always said, especially after the PA, that if coming home late, send a message. So, it's night, it's 2 a.m. and she's not home. I call, no answer. Email, no reply. I call a friend about what hospitals I should call. I'm thinking worst case, both equally bad. She's cheating or she's hurt. 7 a.m. she walks in, still in her work uniform. According to her, there was an after-work party, her phone had died, etc. I had to work. I was happy she was safe and not in the hospital, but didn't want to hear the excuses. These actions have made trusting her again a problem. When something like this happens, she puts in a little extra effort in the following weeks. Then things plateau, then she does something again. It might not be coming home late, but it's still being trust down to zero. I am afraid to start the talk. I'm sure when it starts it will be okay. It's the start. When I was about to bring up divorce last time, she was going through some emotional stuff with the 1-year anniversary of the death of her mother. I decided to let her mourn. I finally sat her down and talked. I spoke with indifference. I can't believe I still love her, but I had to speak with indifference. However, a few things happened which have caused me some issues. First, after a long talk about divorce and ending the marriage, why it had come to this, her faults and mine, she said I just need some time. Of course, in the moment, I thought, well, I do too. I haven't found a place to live or figured out my finances. After the fact, I consider what she said as more like I don't know if I love you enough to stay or if I want to go at it on my own. Give me some time to figure out if I want to toss you to the side or not. I told her she doesn't have much time to decide. That's my first problem. Let her think she's making a decision. She asked, how long? I told her a day, a week, maybe a month. At the time I was thinking about how long it would take me to pack up and get a place to stay. Now I wish I had said tomorrow. Then, I came home today, got on my wife's computer, for reasons that are valid, and saw she had gone through an entire website of toys. Should I care? No, but I do. Why is it that I'm not good enough for bonding but a toy is? Of course, I have no idea how to bring this up in a conversation or even if I should. She says her libido is really low for all sorts of reasons, yet she's getting a toy. That doesn't make sense, unless she's preparing for a life on her own where she'll want it. I don't know. And even if I do bring it up in conversation, I wonder how much BS would get thrown my way, like I was looking at it to maybe thrown some spice into our bonding life. I wish I could press a button and have everything done. She says things are all on her. 1. The way she was raised. Her mother was a rough and told her, you can only rely on yourself, no one else. While I do know about this, she does rely on me and has for a long time. So how this is an issue now, I have no idea. 2. We have bills. The debt is because of her mother mostly. Paying it back is not easy, but it will get done. 3. Her job is not stable in that she's in a male-dominated society and will eventually get pushed out. This puts a certain amount of pressure on her. However, if all else fails and we should both suddenly become jobless, we could easily move back to my country and live a much more relaxed life. Even with that, she's not happy. 4. She feels she's failed me because she wasn't able to have kids. Her age was a factor. She says, it doesn't matter how many times you tell me that we will have a life, just one without kids. I still feel like you can move on to a person who can have kids. As far as the marriage itself, she doesn't complain. She says I'm a good person, a good husband, and that she respects me and is proud of me. This is where things throw me off, because if I'm such a good husband, why am I being treated like this? Her infidelity, she says, still bothers her. It does me as well, since there was little remorse shown after. I asked her what it is she would want of me or would like to see me do different, etc. She says, and I quote, nothing. This is all my fault. I've made several positive changes over the last few years. Getting back into shape, although I never was out of shape but just really leaning out. I've taken on more work to help with the bills, especially now that I'm not taking care of her mother, which was mostly on me. I put very little pressure on her. I cook my own food, part of getting in shape as well, and clean up after myself. About the only thing I don't do is laundry, but I do take it out or bring it in. I don't drink much, except maybe at a social function. I don't smoke or gamble. The only negative change I know that's happened is I've become less outgoing. This is because I had no idea where my marriage was at. There was no bonding, which made me unhappy. She knew the whole time I was unhappy and admitted, by accident, that she didn't like seeing me unhappy, knowing it was her fault. That's why she works late, overtime. When I pointed out that she just admitted to ignoring the relationship, she tried to backpedal, but the damage was done. If I woke up tomorrow and she was a beast in bed for weeks, came home and engaged in the relationship, smiled and was visibly happy to be with me, I could see myself putting divorce on the back burner. But I don't see that happening. I get that she's hanging on and that survival instincts are kicking in for her. If she has another dude, I will imagine she'd be happy to leave this marriage. She can have the apartment, she can move out and live with the other guy. As I type this, and I can't believe the timing, she's saying that since it's my B-day, we can bond. She doesn't say this to me, ever. And while divorce is the plan, my gray matter isn't in full control right now. Okay, relax, I'm back. I don't know why she's suddenly put bonding on the table. I know I can't. I don't trust where she's been. I know this is going to lead to an argument when she gets home. Not what I wanted to do today. This has been the worst birthday ever, except for the time I caught her cheating a few days before my birthday. Okay, now I feel better about saying no to bonding. The update: she came home and had a couple glasses of wine. This loosened her up. I asked her to be honest and that I was going to ask some tough questions. Why has there been no bonding? I don't know if it's my hormones or mental issues. I love you, but it's like my love changed so that you are a family member. I can bond, but I can't say I want to have it. Why are you trying to get physical now? I know that bonding is important to you. I want to try, but I can't say that I actually want bonding. Why are you looking at ordering toys? That's part of me trying. I wanted to do something to make things better. I didn't actually order anything though, because I don't know what is good and what isn't. I don't want anything to stick inside of me, just something for the outside. Can you kiss me with passion? No, I don't see you that way right now. Just right now. I don't know why. Q, is there another man? And I went into detail about how important it was to stay honest and that I would like to see her phone, etc. No, I'm not interested in sleeping with anyone. I love you and I don't want to replace you, but if someone lived here instead of you it would be the same as far as bonding. I wouldn't want to. Q, do you know that the reason we're getting a divorce, or talking about it so far, is because of the lack of intimacy? Yes, that's why I'm trying my best now. Q, don't you think it's too little too late? She went on to say that she's been talking with an online counselor. New to me. She also admits that her hormones might be out of whack. I asked her if she ever considered getting them checked. She seemed like she wasn't interested, like having her hormones out of whack was fine. She tried to hold my hand, cuddle. She kept apologizing about the lack of bonding. Eventually she passed out and I decided to have a drink of my own. In the morning she went about getting ready for work. She asked that we talk again when she got home from work. I told it was time to move on. I told her she had to make plans to move out. She can't afford our current apartment on her own. She kept saying I do love you, and that just felt like a kick in the balls each time. Before she left, she said that she thinks that this is her pattern. Have strong emotional feelings for someone and that slowly transitions into feeling more like family. I got to get to the gym. I need to take out my frustrations in a productive manner. It'll be a good 10 hours before she's home from work. I've got the whole day off to feel like crap, although not as planned. I started cleaning things out, tossing things in the trash, basically making it easy for a move. She asked what I was doing and I told her just some cleaning out. The plan was to sit her down Sunday when she was off and I finished early in the day. However, as she was taking a bath, with a bottle of wine, she was texting someone. Her text messages pop up on her iPad as well so I could see the replies, but not what she sent. For someone that wants to be alone and relax, cool down after work, she certainly sent a good number of messages. It was to a guy co-worker. She talked about buying a toy. Whether it was for her or for a friend, I don't know. That sent me over the top. When she got out of the bath, I asked her politely to show me her phone. She handed it to me, but when I asked her to unlock it, she said not until I told her why. So, a little back and forth until finally she realized I knew some of what was being said. Is it inappropriate for a wife to be taking a hot bath, drinking wine, texting a male co-worker at 1 a.m., talking about fun things, whether for her or not? She then tried to convince me that it was private stuff between her two friends and that she was in the middle. She had to respect their privacy, but would ask them if it's okay to share the information with me the next day. Of course, I said after you delete it, sure. Without going crazy, I went straight to my closet and started packing my clothes. She put two and two together and realized that the packing was preparation for leaving. She started to blame me for not understanding. I pulled out the papers, put them on her desk and told her to sign so that she doesn't have to put up with me. She didn't. She kept coming at me. For a good hour as I was packing, she tried to blame me for this and that. In one ear, out the other. It was too late to leave the apartment and stay anywhere else that night, so I slept in a different room. She came running in and shoved the phone in my face and said, "See," as though I was an idiot and couldn't possibly figure that she would erase the damning evidence. I will say this, I slept much better than I thought. No great, but I wasn't up all night crying or anything. She got up and went to work. She's a hard worker. A few minutes ago, she sent me a text asking if she could talk to me on her break. Of course. Will that change anything? Of course not. I hope that my feelings stay this way for the duration. I called my sister and there's financial support for me to get out if needed, which is awesome to know. I still have to sort out my personal finances and debt, my share, before anything gets finalized. She still hasn't signed. I came home today to her wanting to talk. She gave me all sorts of reasons for her behavior. Nothing worked. I have audio of her nonchalantly talking about her PIA that should be enough to end things. I feel like crap and good at the same time. I can't explain things. She has no family anymore. It's just her. I haven't told my family. They live in my native country. I told my sister about the D and asked for financial help. She never denied the PA. I caught right as it happened. There was no denying it. She said it was a mistake. However, in the new conversation I hear, she told her friend she liked him and that's why it happened. That was a first for me. I'm depressed. I want my wife back. The woman I married. I want her back so bad it hurts all over. I'm a gym rat, but since all this I just can't go. My diet is strict, but now I'm relying on protein powder and greens drinks for all my food. I can't eat. I am already on meds for a panic disorder I developed long ago, pre-marriage. I'm physically addicted to them and have been slowly tapering off. Unfortunately, it looks like it's now the only thing that can settle my nerves. I started drinking a few days ago. I know that's not good, but it also seems to settle me down and keep me from trying to figure a way to sway her back to me. I put the audio file on her computer and labeled it "Listen to Me, mistake maybe." I can't think clearly. After I left for work, she sent a message saying I knew you were wiring me. There is no trust anymore. Sorry for everything. I go home at lunch. It's a short workday. I want to leave now. I want to cry. A grown man crying at work. I know drinking is bad. I did drink yesterday as we spoke simply because it was all I could do to calm my nerves. She said that it all started when we lived in our last apartment. She says that she's certainly not blaming me, but herself. She thought that bringing her mother and her family troubles into our lives was what caused my anxiety attacks. I'm also on an antidepressant for the anxiety attacks. Like I said, I don't get them anymore and haven't had them in years. Looking back, I think it was something that could have been handled without the meds, but that's another story. She confided her pa with her friend, the voice recording. In it, there was some information I didn't know that I wanted to know. She said, in the recording, that before the day of the pa that nothing happened. The day of it just happened. I had always thought that something did happen before and after. She confided in her friend that nothing did. That was a bit of a relief. I told her I was divorcing my roommate. I explained the difference between having a wife and a roommate. There is debt in her name that we both share. I'm not one to run away from responsibility, so I told her I would take my share of the debt and put it on my credit card. Living a single life is cheap for me. It won't take long to pay it off. Tears naturally followed. Her, not mine. I stayed neutral. This went on for about 8 hours. I asked the questions about the chatting and toys. Q, why were you chatting with a male co-worker about toys? A, the profile name is a male name, but it's a female co-worker. That's believable, since I have the same things on my phone and with the language as it is. I can't tell by the text whether it's male or female. Q, why keep it a secret? She has a problem, like we have. She's having trouble with sleeping with her boyfriend. I wanted to respect her privacy. Q, even if that meant causing me pain. I didn't mean for it to hurt you, I'm so sorry. Q, why spend so much time on someone else's problems when you have your own to deal with here? I was searching for toys for us. I was focused on us. Q, why didn't your friend order her own toy? She lives with her family. They would find it and she would be embarrassed. Q, why not tell me you ordered a toy? I saw the non-discreet box. I didn't know that's how it would come. I wasn't trying to keep it a secret. At this point, other things started to take priority over the conversation. This one isn't over yet. I asked her why she wants me around. Why hasn't she asked for a divorce? Why she's talked about divorce with her friend, part of the audio and a message I caught 3 months ago. She says she doesn't want a divorce. She wants to be happy. She says that she was thinking about divorce because she saw how unhappy I was. That's the 180 I was doing. She admitted that there were things that she couldn't do, like to kiss, that she knew were important to me. So, she was considering divorce. In the audio she did go into how she would move out and find an apartment in a cheaper part of town, etc. I said, I think you're afraid. I think going from a 3-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood to a small studio apartment in a crappy neighborhood scares you. I think being alone scares you. I think not knowing how your finances will turn out scares you. She said she wasn't scared of that. She said she knew that if her life went to crap that it was all on her. I agreed. I wasn't taking any blame. So, I asked why keep me around, if not for the money. Her life is full of drama, some of it serious. Both parents ill by the time she finished high school and taking care of them until just last year. That's 25 years of caring for parents. In her life, many people have come and gone, none really sticking around, helping out, etc., except, of course, me. She said that when she dies, as morbid as it sounds, knowing that I would be there to send her off makes her feel happy, in a sad kind of way. Why ruin that with an affair? She knows now that there's nothing that can undo the affair. Whenever something feels off or doesn't go right, my mind goes back to that. I'm not divorced yet. The papers are still sitting on the table. She hasn't touched them. I remind her every other day that she needs to sit and take a look at them, sign them, get things done. She stares blankly at them. I've written out what I plan to take with me when I move. She hasn't signed those either. Our accounts are now completely separate as far as money goes. She has made some attempts to get me back into bed with her, to sleep, not bonding, since I moved my bed to another room. She said I'm broken. I don't know why I can't sleep with you. I see you like a family member. My love has changed. I want to be like other couples. She still won't show me the conversation she had on her messaging app. I told her trust has dropped to way below zero. Now, for the first time ever, she's going to see a counselor. $1 too short, a minute too late, but I still support her getting help for herself. Problem is, in this country, therapy isn't covered by healthcare, and therefore anyone without a license can call themselves a therapist and shovel out advice. I took a look at some of the blogs and homepages of people in the area. Some of the stuff they have up is utter BS. I did manage to find a certified therapist that speaks English. I'll be doing some one-on-one sessions with him, although it's going to cost me $150 per 45-minute session. I think I need it though. While I didn't suggest my wife see this person, I did tell her to be careful who she chooses to see. Thing is, I still love her. This is still breaking my heart. It will still take more time before we're completely out, but I guess that's just the way it has to be. Right now, it's about logistics. Getting my finances in order. My family back home is on vacation, so I've got to wait until after they get back to break the news to them. Hopefully they can offer some kind of support. I expect my mother will plead for me to just come home. Not exactly an option, but that's what moms do, I guess. My comment, the real reason OP stays with her, is beyond the fact that he is weak. The real reason is because he does not love himself. Just wanted to post this story as a reminder: if you don't love and respect yourself, no one else would.